This is the first day of a 2-night backpacking trip in Citico Creek Wilderness. I started at the South Fork of the Citico Creek trailhead, trail number 105, and then I'm going to take trail number 98, which is the North Fork of the Citico Creek, and then go up the creek to Cold Spring Gap Trail, trail number 149, and then take that to trail 97, Brush Mountain Trail, and then back down to trail 105 again. This is about a 12-mile loop. This is the middle of the week, so I don't expect to see anyone. A little bit of light rain right now. The temperature is about 65 degrees, but it's supposed to blow out tonight and be beautiful for the next 2 days with very unseasonably warm weather. This is the confluence of the South Fork of the Citico Creek and the North Fork of the Citico Creek. This is North Fork up this way, and the South Fork is back behind me. This is the South Fork of the Citico Creek. I'm going to briefly leave North Fork of the Citico Creek Trail and take this unofficial bypass trail around the first 2 creek crossings. The bypass trail begins about 3/10 of a mile after the bridge and right after the big bend in the trail and North Fork of the Citico Creek. The trail climbs steeply and zigzags up a small ridge about 200 feet and then kind of tops out at this rock cairn and then continues up just a little bit. After you reach the large rock, the trail bears to the left and then becomes just a narrow little goat trail that winds along the side of the ridge and then back down to the North Fork of the Citico Creek. All right, I'm back to the North Fork of the Citico Creek, and I'm looking down to the second crossing, but we're going to continue upstream behind me. This is the third crossing, but I'm going to bear right just a little bit and take another unofficial trail which bypasses the third and the fourth crossing. This second bypass trail is a little bit wider and easier to follow than the first bypass trail. This is looking downstream at the fourth crossing, but again I'm continuing upstream, which is behind me. This is the fifth and the sixth crossing, but I'm going to scoot along this rock ledge right in front of me and bypass both of these crossings. This is home for the night. I've camped here many times I'm not sure if it has a formal name, but I call it North Fork Flats, and it's about 2.1 miles from the junction of 98 and 105. This is day 2, and I'm continuing up the North Fork of the Citico Creek Trail. I've got about 2,000 feet of climbing to do today, and one creek crossing with no bypass trail. This morning was kind of crazy. While I was packing up, a bat was flying around my camp. I've never seen that in daylight before. Rather strange. About 4/10 of a mile after the 7th crossing, which I was able to rock hop, you come to what appears to be the 8th crossing, but the trail actually bears hard left and then climbs up this short little scramble and then continues on a bench and leaves the creek for a little ways. After about 6/10 of a mile, the trail leaves the bench and joins the creek again and becomes a little hard to follow, but there's some rock cairns and some natural blazes along the way. Just continue up the creek. I'm at trail 149. It's about 2.8 miles from the campsite I stayed at last night. The trail gains about 1,900 feet up to 149. I've got a little more climbing to do today, but all of the hard climbing is over. The upper portion of North Fork of Citico Creek Trail crosses a small branch about 12 or 14 times, and at times pretty much follows the middle of the creek. It is a steep and difficult trail to follow in places, but it is absolutely beautiful. Trail 149 starts off as a single track trail, goes through a batch of briars, and then turns into a nice wide double track trail after about 300 or 400 feet. And it looks like today a few blowdowns. Massive dead hemlock trees, dying from the woolly hemlock adelgid. They're everywhere. Those were absolutely beautiful trees, and I already miss them. This looks like fun. Looks like maybe a hole I can slide through. I haven't looked at the map, but I believe that is Brush Mountain, and the Brush Mountain Trail follows that ridge. I bushwhacked about 150 feet off of Trail 149 and found a little flat place I'm going to camp tonight. I filled up two 2-liter bladders about a half a mile back. It's an extra 8 pounds to carry, but it was only about a half a mile. I think I'm about 2/10 from a mile from the Brush Mountain Trail. Day 3, and I'm continuing on the Cold Spring Gap Trail, number 149. The low last night was about 46. The low the first night was 41. I've got another 100 feet or so of climbing up to Brush Mountain Trail. Yesterday I climbed an additional 300 feet on 149, so the total climb yesterday was closer to 2,200 feet. It's an absolutely beautiful day. The temperature is about 65 degrees, and it looks like it's going to be a fantastic day. Brush Mountain Trail number 97 is rarely used, and as you can see, there's just not much of a trail to follow. Occasionally there's some natural blazes to follow. Another section where the trail is almost non-existent, but there are some more survey markers. After the trail crosses the spring, it makes a short, steep climb over a ridge, descends, gradually climbs a second ridge, and then makes a steep descent into Ike Camp branch drainage, and then the trail actually follows, or actually goes down the middle of the branch for about 100 feet. Actually, the trail follows the center of the branch for about 300 feet, and then pops out of the branch, follows it, and crosses it several times with surveyor markers and rock cairns. The trail's really been washed out here, but there's a natural blaze and a very narrow footpath through the dog hobble. Finishing up Brush Mountain Trail, and I'm almost back to the junction of Trail 105. I've got to cross the South Fork of Citico Creek to get over to 105. The water's pretty low this time of the year, and I'm hoping I can rock hop it. Brush Mountain Trail, as I recall, is about 5.2 miles. It's not a trail I would recommend for a beginner hiker. I'd only recommend it for experienced hikers. It is steep, hard to follow, even with the survey markers, and a very challenging trail. I will add, this is my third time to do this trail. I did it the first time in the late 1990s and I went up. The second time was about 4 years ago and I went down it. And to be honest, I don't believe I followed the exact same path on any of the 3 trips. All right, I made it across the South Fork of the Citico Creek, and I'm on Trail 105. I've got about a half a mile back to the junction of Trail 98, North Fork of Citico Creek, and then about 9/10 of a mile back to the trailhead. Almost back to the 105 trailhead. This has been a fun and challenging trip. The weather today has been incredible. The high was about 74 degrees. I hope you enjoy this adventure, and thanks for watching.